10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Throw some shrimp on the barbie, mate. Too soon? Producer Corey, too soon? Welcome. Welcome to a Football Friday, everybody. Everybody's all jacked up. They're all geeked up. That includes Kevin the Medium. He's going to be riding in the cockpit with me, co-hosting. I'm not solo. Rocking and rolling our way into the weekend. We've got Jim Barker coming up in hour 2. And by popular demand, Darren Moose DuPont will be joining us from Palm Springs, California in hour 2 to preview the Vanier Cup. And hey, Kev. Hi, Kev. Moose is getting married on Sunday. Hi, Moose. Moose not here, but he's getting married, and I'm going to the wedding. I've never been to Palm Springs. It's one of the few places I've never been. Have you been there, Kev?
I don't think I've ever been to Palm Springs. I'm trying to think. Maybe
going.
we took a cruise out of there. I'm not sure. I don't think I have.
Okay. Well, we're bringing down the average age, from what I understand, of Palm Springs, California this weekend. We're very much looking forward to that. But we're going to have fun over the next 2 hours. Let's go, everybody, with a Football Friday. We're going to open with the big story. Point number 1. It is the National Football League. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills just couldn't get anything going last night in Houston and against the Texans' dominant defense. 23-19 Thursday Night Football loss by the Bills. Josh Allen was sacked a career-high 8 times. Kalen Bullock forced 3 turnovers with his second interception sealing the Texans' victory. Listen, I'm not going to go deep into this with Kev here. We'll spend far more time on it in hour 2 when we talk more NFL. But what I will say, I got a few things here. The poll question today is, what is America's game of the week in the NFL? So you can vote on it right now. Is it Eagles, Cowboys? That's my vote because I'm a Cowboys fan. Is it Colts, Chiefs, which is actually running away with the vote? That's leading it. And I can't even remember what the third option is, or other, because it's the 2 games I just mentioned. Beyond, Kev, with the CFL over, because you're one of the biggest CFL guys I know. What are you going to do for the next 6 months? Because that's like your jam, right? You're not into NFL in college.
I'm not. I watch a little bit if I can watch some Seattle Seahawks. If I'm home, I'll watch it. It's not something I'll turn on. But I've got the Vancouver Canucks to keep me going for the 6 months. And I'll probably watch most of the games.
Okay. Well, it's fine. For the CFL people, and trust me, I used to be that person. It's just I kind of started doing this show where we talk about a lot of other leagues, so I can't remember what the hell did I keep busy with. Yeah, I'm like you. It was hockey for the winter, and all the rest. But there was something came up yesterday that I was going to bring up with you today on a Football Friday. They're talking about the NFL expanding to Europe. And they're like, we're not just going to put 1 team over here, London for sure. We're probably going to put 2. And they're trying to decide where that will be. Spain, Ireland, they've hosted games. And I think that's going to happen. It kind of looks like that's what they want to do, right? But for me, I would have zero interest in going to Europe for an NFL, for anything, to be honest. I don't want to go. But you've been. How does the idea of the NFL expanding to Europe grab you?
That's a road trip. And every time they talk about expanding over there or hosting games over there, I'm like, the logistics of putting together the travel for 2 teams, London, let's just pick London and Dublin. I don't know, wherever they happen to be. That's insane. That's not like a West Coast to East Coast travel. You're jumping over the pond. There's 10, 12-hour flights. I just don't get it. I'm going to be like, ooh.
Well, listen, it's clearly not something that we planned or will spend any more time on today, but it is being talked about. And not just by the NFL. It's being talked about by other pro leagues, i.e., you could just have a European division of the NFL or the NHL. I mean, my goodness, Pittsburgh and Nashville were just over there in the Global Series playing in Europe. So it's coming. And I think the very good question is, who will be the first league to have teams in the first traditional North American sports league to have teams in Europe? Because I'll say it again. Like, look, I mentioned earlier, I used to be just the CFL guy, and that was fun. There's a lot of people in Saskatchewan where I'm from and lived a half century that are just CFL people. Okay.
Yep.
That wasn't enough for me, and that's why I'm living in Florida. But you know what? North America is enough for me. I don't need to go to Europe. If I die without going to Europe, I'll be fine. Am I missing something, Kev?
You are. I had the privilege of going to Europe. I went to Spain, did a cruise out of Barcelona, and I'm going back. Like, it's that nice. It's going to be 2027. We're going to spend at least 3 months traveling Europe. And I'm looking forward to it because I'm a history guy, and the history there is just phenomenal. So I think you would like Europe. I think you would like the sitting at the cafe, sipping the cappuccino.
I can do that here, and I feel like I've heard nothing but bad things from my friends that have been there. So whatever. It's not something I was dying to see all of North America, and I've seen it, and I love it, and I've settled where I want to be. Europe, that's fine. But you know what? People plan and God laughs, so who knows? I'm going to just throw in a hockey note here. Point 2, Adam Fantilli scored his second goal of the game in overtime as the Columbus Blue Jackets survived blowing a 2-0 lead to beat the Leafs 3-2 Thursday night. Jake Gensel scored in overtime to complete the Tampa Bay Lightning's 2-1 comeback win over the Oilers. Cue the panic in Edmonton. Alex Ovechkin scored a hat trick to reach 907 goals in his career, and the Washington Capitals beat Montreal 8-4 to deal the Habs their 5th straight loss. Folks that are bigger Hab fans than me, is that the 5th straight home loss or 5th straight loss overall? Either way, it's bad. And Jason Robertson kept his scoring streak alive with a first-period goal as the Dallas Stars topped the Vancouver Canucks 4-2. There are 4 games tonight. I'll make those picks later, but the Canucks lost again. Kev, I feel like this is a recording.
But you know what? I watched that game. I watched the first 2 periods, then I kind of half listened to the 3rd period as I was falling asleep last night, because being in Central Time, all of a sudden these games get later and later, and I'm old. I can't stay up that late. But the first 2 periods, the Canucks looked good. I was texting Jake, and I'm like, I haven't really paid attention to the Canucks because obviously our focus has been on the CFL, but the Canucks looked good. They held the play for most of that game, and 2 late goals by the North Stars. The North Stars, they're kind of ruined us.
How so?
We literally, their goalie, I'm trying to think of their goalie's name. Sorry, names are slipping my mind. Was phenomenal. Some of the saves he made were, you just kind of went, how did he do that? Like, he was out of the net. The net was empty, and he comes scooting across like Superman. Yeah.
You got goalied is the term.
Huh?
Yeah, you got goalied. You got goalied, basically, is what you're saying about by the Minnesota Wild last night. Well, hey, I'll say this. We're going to take a break. I get a kick out. All comments are welcome. Jeff the Stamps fan writes that he says Rod is too North American sports-centered for Europe. And I don't think he's saying that as a insult. And if he is, I'm not taking it as that. We got more than enough to talk about here that I don't need to get into what's going on over there. Never been interested in it. Not in...
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Welcome back on a Football Friday. Kevin, the medium, with us. He'll be right with us shortly. Does your message stand out at Outlaw Communications? We make sure it does. Tony Plater brings 35 years of communication and leadership expertise, from media training and leadership coaching to strategic crisis planning and compelling content. He'll help you lead with confidence. Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. For the Saskatchewan people, still our number one region for viewership, and CFL fans that are Rider fans that are watching, I will say this. Houston Texans, upset win last night. Danny Barrett's their assistant head coach. Should Danny Barrett get into the Plaza of Honor or not? He is the all-time leader in games coached for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Danny Barrett, but didn't win anything. Please debate amongst yourselves. And yeah, I guess Danny wasn't on that Grey Cup team that we won a Grey Cup with. Tony Plater and I were on it 2007 with the Roughriders. Kevin, the medium's here. It's a Football Friday. And as we roll into point 3, I have simply this, Kev. CFL leftovers. And it's not the CFL's fault. They just came out of a 6-month whirlwind of a season. And for most of them, I feel it's just a whoosh. There's not a lot of news this week other than the Riders parade and them swearing on the mic at the legislature, right? Unless I've missed something. I haven't seen a lot of CFL news.
Now, there's a couple signings here or there, but nothing that would be a blockbuster. I think you won't hear much until the new year. Like you say, I think everybody's taking a deep breath. I talked to a couple of CFL guys, and their big thing was, we've been on the road for 2.5 weeks. We're looking forward to getting home and just going.
Right, and that's what's happening right now. That's what's happening right now in the Canadian Football League. But I will say this. 1 week ago, you were at Grey Cup. Probably feels like, does it feel longer than that or less than that you were at the Grey Cup?
It feels longer than that.
Does it?
It actually feels longer.
Okay, well, I said after you adjourned, I said, Kevin's learning this media biz, because you came on this show and said, oh, it's a done deal. It's a done deal around here. Mike O'Shea is going to the Argos. Thoughts on that?
I was literally, I remember exactly where I was, and Jake is sitting beside me, and he basically threw his phone in my face, and he goes, look. And I was like, no. I mean, it wasn't just me who said O'Shea was a done deal in Toronto. Everybody we talked to was saying the same thing. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but O'Shea came out and was very, I'm going to use the word, pissed off at whoever took the picture of him in Toronto. He was at the airport in Toronto, and of course, everybody put 1, 2, and 3 together and came out with 4 when really it was 5. It didn't happen. shame on us for just assuming, I guess.
Well, that's why I have not summarily chastised you for it, because I'm like, he'll learn. He'll learn. Yeah. Did you learn? It's not a done deal, basically, until the team's announcing it. Because Jim Barker came on after you adjourned, and he was like, I heard earlier that you guys said that it's a done deal, and I know that it's not. I just talked to Mike. He hasn't decided. I'm like, hey, I didn't say it. Kevin did. Okay, so that's that. Again, I wasn't upset by it. I'm like, Kevin will learn. It's not a done deal until it's signed and they're announcing it. Yeah.
I'm 61. I'm past learning. I'll still make those dumbass mistakes.
Okay. Well, that's fine. But what I do know is there's a lot of CFL people that are watching this program, and we've talked, and yeah, Mike O'Shea went to Toronto. We met with the Argos, and from what I understand, and I do believe this because I trust the people that told me, Winnipeg basically said, fill out the check. What's it going to take? We don't want you to leave.
And why would they? I mean, he's probably one of the best coaches in the league today, and I'd probably put him up there in the best coaches in the CFL in a long time. We could go back quite a ways. Look at his record. It speaks for itself. Of course you're going to want to keep him.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just, now the comments are going crazy here. John Ohm. Listen, I got to get all my props. Says O'Shea has any right to look around for other opportunities. He does, but don't take a picture of him in the airport. I told this story Wednesday, Kev. I don't think you weren't with me on the air. I said, I asked him to take a photo once. He's like, nope. And I'm like, what about promoting the league, bro? He didn't want to do it. That's fine. You know what? And then it dawned on me the other day. I'm like, he's in the league, Rod. You're not. So what are you worried about promoting the league? If O'Shea doesn't care, why do you? I don't. AJ writes, and he says, when does the CFL announce the coach of the year? I don't know, because they change it every year, okay? The viewers are going to get me worked up about what pisses me off about the Canadian football. It's different every year. We don't know. I don't know. So
for some reason, somebody told me it was going to be at the Combine.
Yeah, well, I don't know, bro. Ask the CFL. Because, as I've said 8 million times, this is not the CFL show. I would say, I don't know. And Arlen Bruce writes in, AB the third. He says, hey, RP, hey, RP and Kevin, Arlen Bruce, two-time Grey Cup champion. He says, will the RP show and Kevin the Medium be in Calgary for the 113th Grey Cup? Are you for real, AB? I'm don't really know where I'm going to be next week, let alone next year for the Grey Cup. So I appreciate the question, but I can't answer that today. Give me a break. What were you going to say, Kev?
I'll be there, of course. I will be living quite close to Calgary at that time. So, the Hughes Sports Podcast will be there.
Laverne in the Frontier City writes in, he says, Kevin would make a good politician. He writes it on the Western Dodge text line.
No.
Why do you say that, Laverne? Would you make a good politician, Kevin? I've never thought that.
See, before I met you, politics was a massive part of my being. I was very, very, very heavily involved in politics, and that's what I wanted to do. But like you learned about being in the press, I learned about being in politics. It isn't pretty. It's ugly.
Probably uglier than the press, and the press it's not just ugly, it's fugly. And if people know what that is. Sea Lightning writes, then he says, it'll be at the Combine. Coach of the Year will be announced at the Combine. Okay, look, they got to stop moving this stuff around every year. But again, they don't ask me. I will say this won't surprise you, Kev, but on 3 different occasions, I have been asked to run publicly by the same party twice, and then another, like federally, and then provincially once. Do you want to take a guess what party that was, Kev? Would you be shocked to know what parties? I don't mind saying.
I'm gonna guess and say Liberal.
They would save their time. They would save your time. No, it was the federal Conservatives twice.
Right behind It's right behind
Yeah.
Theo, you and Theo running for Liberals.
Yeah,
It's
and Theo's got a better chance of being the head of the Liberal Party than I do. Anyways, I'm like, no, I have zero interest in that. You should know better. And why are you asking me? And they said, because you have the trust of the people. And I said, yes, I do. And I have zero interest in screwing that up or losing it. So I'm not going to run in politics. But I go back to this thing where do you not care, like, to say it's a done deal that O'Shea's going to Toronto, but it's not? Does that not bother you?
You know what? Looking back on it now, of course it does. It was one of those, we were in the heat of the moment. We were involved in everything happening in the CFL, and everybody, and I mean, when I say everybody, they didn't come out and say it like I did, but everybody from the top of the TSN to the bottom of the podcast people were saying it's a done deal. O'Shea's going to Toronto. We know this. We heard this. So everybody was wrong.
Hey, it's all good. You just got to know who you're talking to on a lot of ways. But I mean, Jim Barker last year at the Grey Cup, you and I sat with him, and he was like, okay, come Monday, this, and this is going to happen. And it all happened.
I still talk about that conversation and the accuracy and the way he had told us. And I'm just like, this man's plugged in. He knows what's happening.
Yeah. So I don't know what TSN guys you were talking to, but the one that I talked to is Jim Barker. I was like, because I barely knew Jim at the time. I mean, the more I get to know him, the more I like him. I guess, hey, it's the Canadian Hour. Kev's with us. We'll talk. And it's Football Friday. So, like, everybody enjoy this. It's special that we're talking CFL in the winter. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's Football Friday. That's why I push it to Fridays. It makes it special. C. Lightning writes in and he says, Caleros dropped into O'Shea's lap and saved his job. Initially, I scoffed, but then I'm like, wait a minute. That might be right, but I don't think Mike O'Shea's didn't have to apologize for that.
Not at all. I mean, did he inherit a good team? Of course, but I think O'Shea's just a great coach. I would love to have him coach any team that I'm cheering for. He's got it, whatever that it is when it comes to coaching. Look at his record. Records speak for themselves.
Sure. Well, any good coach, which O'Shea's won, and I would put Mark Trestman and Wally Buono in this category. Anytime I've asked those guys, what's the secret to your success, they say, good players. But I mean, C. Lightning is a Rider fan, and I'm sorry, it's just interesting. If you hang around the CFL long enough, you will win. Because if anybody wants to say, oh, Zach Caleros dropped out of the sky, he was in Sask. You didn't win with him there.
Yeah.
But Saskatchewan did eventually win, so who has the last laugh? Again, if you wait around long enough, everybody will win. That's the beauty of the CFL. Yeah.
So you're telling me BC will win sooner or later? Because it's been, what is it now, 14 long years for me.
I know, but there's not... In the beautiful thing about the Canadian Football League, it's not like the NHL where the Jets have never won and the Canucks have never won and the Sharks have never won and every team's won. So yes. I get what you're saying. It's that 14-year in CFL years is like dog years. That's like 96 years. And what do you think the Hamilton Tiger Cats fans are feeling and thinking? Did you run into any of their fans at Grey Cup, by the way?
Yes, they were probably the most prominent team that wasn't in the Cup
really?
Out there. And it was the same thing when I noticed this when we were in Vancouver. Same thing. You had a lot of Hamilton fans that have been to 30 Grey Cups, 20 Grey Cups. They're literal Grey Cup fans of the CFL, but bigger fans of the Grey Cup. And there was lots. So that would be the team that I would say. There was lots of BC Lions, but there was more Hamilton fans than any other team besides the Riders, of course.
Good. I like to hear that. I mean, we used to rate the fan bases in terms of how rabid they are. We had Sask usually 1, Hamilton 2, and Winnipeg 3. I don't think that's changed. Do you?
You might put the Smurf Mafia just a little higher than Hamilton.
Now,
that in there, Smurfs.
Based on winning.
Just on winning and the fact they sold out every game, blah blah blah. They know how to put on a game day experience. It's that easy.
902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line. From trucks to SUVs, Western Dodge has what you're looking for. Visit the showroom or visit them online at westerndodge.ca. Kevin, the medium, with us for one more segment. When we come back, more of this, more football. If you're enjoying the CFL talk, get your questions and comments in, because it's the only day of the week that we do it. Coming up in hour 2, Jim Barker will join us, 5-time Grey Cup champion, to talk NFL, CFL, and college. And Darren Moose DuPont, by viewer request, will be joining us to preview the Vanier Cup, Saskatchewan Huskies, Montreal Carabins, on Saturday at Mosaic Stadium. We'll be right back, everybody. You're watching the RP Show's Football Friday on the Game Plus Television Network. Also, YouTube Live podcast and across the U.S. South on 1700 AM Mission Radio. We'll be right back after this.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at zasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hour one of the RP Show brought to you in part by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. They have us on every day in the lobby. Hi, Kirby and friends at Suds Regina. Kevin, the medium, with us for one more segment. We'll be talking college football next hour with Jim Barker. Point 4 of the Quick Six Show topics. There are just 2 games Saturday between ranked college football teams. Number 8, Oklahoma, hosting number 22, Missouri. Number 7, Oregon, hosting number 15, USC. Point 5 was the NBA. I'll get to that later. That's not Kev's jam. What is, it's not my jam either, is the Canadian Football League. And Kev, a couple of notes. I just want to throw this out there. I'm coming up, as you know, to Canada to speak at a couple of events in Saskatchewan, end of November, start of December. And one of the host committees said, "Are you guys bringing the Grey Cup with you?" And I'm like, you know that it's been 7 years since I've been the voice of the team, right? You know that. So these events I'm doing with rider people, I would say there's a 99% chance that they won't be bringing the cup. Because what the fans don't understand is that the cup is spoken for every day from now to the kickoff next year. It's spoken for. Somebody has it. Okay?
Yes.
So it's what I'm 100% sure of is I won't have it. So I said, you might want to talk to the other people. But as you know, Arlen Bruce was not a dumb question asking if we're going to be at the Grey Cup next year. I don't know whether will be. You say you will be. What teams will be, Kev? Who's the Grey Cup favorite for next season?
Oh my, I mean, how can you even guess? I mean, there's going to be so many changes in the off season. I mean, I'd love to see the Stamps there. I'd love to see the home team just to make it that much more interesting. Obviously, I want the BC Lions. Will Winnipeg resurrect themselves? I don't know. Time will tell. Will Saskatchewan continue to be the top in the West? Who knows? I mean, until we know, is there going to be retirements? Is there going to be quarterback changes? Which head coach goes where? There's too much to talk about before we even think about who's going to be in the Grey Cup.
I know, but it's fun to talk about right now. I'm making note of this when we did talk about it. Here's the one thing that, what do I know? But the CFL does need to stay in the profile for the next 6 months. And some teams are trying. Some are not. I had an email from our friends at the BC Lions, Matt Baker, wonderful young man, about announcements next week about the 2 games they're going to be playing in Kelowna. They're calling it Touchdown. I think is it Touchdown Kelowna? Something like that.
Okanagan? Something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Touchdown Okanagan. But it kind of got me fired up. And that was like a few hours ago, and 678 different things have gone through my mind since. But the Lions playing regular season games in Kelowna is kind of exciting to me. They got to keep this. They got to keep this up.
I would love to go to one of those games. I think they're going to be off the chart just to be there. Especially Kelowna in the summertime. I mean, the town triples in size, and it's going to be fun. Probably put the game in front of eyes that normally wouldn't see a CFL game. A lot of U.S. Residents come up to Kelowna, so it's not a bad idea.
Okay. My bad. I deleted the email already. My bad on what they're calling it in the end. Because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be at the news conference in Kelowna next week. But I'm just saying, as far as excitement and hype, is it a silly question to talk about who's the Grey Cup favorite coming back next year? Because here's a good question for you. Who would the CFL rather have in the 2026 Grey Cup in Calgary representing the West? The Saskatchewan Roughriders or the Calgary Stampeders? That's a toughie. That's not an easy one to answer.
You know, it's not, but right away after being in Winnipeg with the Riders in it, I would say the CFL would always want the Riders representing the West. No fan base is going to travel in mass as much as the Riders do. And so, I mean, you go to a Calgary game, you don't know who's home team most times when they're playing the Riders. So I think it would be crazy to have the Riders here in Calgary.
Yeah. Well, we've had it. We had it at the 2009 Grey Cup, and it was ridiculous. And also the 2010 Grey Cup. And I meant to, and people are saying, why are you guys talking about this in November? Because it's a Football Friday, and we're on Game Plus TV across Canada. And why the hell not? But I said to Kev, because you had not until this year been to a Grey Cup that the Riders were in. Am I right in saying that?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah. So I said, you don't know what's coming. But I remember being on the phone with my mom, 2010 Grey Cup, midweek. And I said to my mom, she's on the farm just outside Regina. I'm like, Mom, I think every Rider fan in the world is here. And she goes, in Edmonton. And she's like, no, they're all here. Rider pride everywhere. And that is now back. And I guess that's the other one. Are the Riders not the favorites coming back? Trevor Harris has basically confirmed that he's coming back. How would they not be the favorites for the Grey Cup next year? They got to be.
They have to be. I mean, the way they kind of dominated the season into the last 4 games where they already locked everything up. I mean, yeah, they would have to be.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says that is a fallacy, Kevin. And I think he's referring to you saying the CFL would want the Riders in the Grey Cup every year. It's not a fallacy. I'll stand behind Kevin on that one, or in front of him or beside him. For years, the CFL wanted the Riders in the Grey Cup because they told us. I don't think that's changed.
There's no better fan base. I mean, I'm not a Rider fan. I'll never be a Rider fan. Yes, I'm moving to Saskatchewan, and I will never be a Rider fan. But there's no better fan base than the Riders. They sell more merchandise. They pack the stadiums more. Yes, Winnipeg has in the last few years, but go back over the last decade. There's no better fan base than the Riders. It's a fact. We hate it. Every other team in the CFL hates it, but you have to admit it. If Calgary was the best fan base, do you think their stadium would be more than half full? Come on. Well, let's be realistic.
Yours and my other careers, now I get it. But for years, 20 years, when I was the voice of the Riders, I was like, why does everybody hate us? We're not doing anything wrong. And now I get out. Oh, they're jealous. That's not our fault.
Right? Yes, of course we were. How many times? I can't count the number of times when I was growing up and I went to Lions games in BC Place and had to put up with, I used the word obnoxious Rider fans, and that's how we viewed them. They were obnoxious Rider fans because you could go to Mosaic Stadium, you'd have a handful of BC Lions fans. We weren't obnoxious because there wasn't thousands of us.
When you get the crap kicked out of you.
Yes.
You'd get the crap kicked out of you. Yeah. Kev says he's moving to Saskatchewan, but will never be a Rider fan. BC Eric writes in, he says, don't you dare wear green, Kevin. I'll just tell you, Kev, it's a long list of people that have moved to Saskatchewan and said they will never become Rider fans, and then they do. So
no.
It's well, you say that now. We'll see. But what's up for the weekend sports watching wise with your CFL over? Are you going to be watching sports at all?
I don't think I'm going to. We got a lot of stuff to get into place. We're getting ready to go away again in early December, so we have to do some visiting here. I'm in Maple Creek for the next 2 weeks, so we got a lot of visiting to do here. And then up to Lloyd to visit my daughter, then back to Calgary to pack, and then away we go again. It's whirlwind.
Kevin, the media is he's enjoying the retirement life. There's not a lot of sports in Maple Creek. That much I know. That much I know. But I know you're going to fit in some time to come on with us. And you'll be hosting the Hughes Sports Podcast. We should probably, we'll plug that. Would you mind?
Yes. We're going to go back to doing it every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central. That would 8 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Pacific time. So tune in. We have fun. A totally different show than what we do when I'm on with Rod. So tune in. You might like it. You never know.
It's not better, it's not worse, it's different. But what I will tell you is it's BC Lions and Vancouver Canucks centric. So for the BC viewers, you'll really love it, the Hughes Sports Podcast. Jim Barker coming up to talk football, all leagues and levels. Darren Moose DuPont with a Vanier Cup preview. Kev, thanks for this, my dog. It's been fun. Keep in touch. Yeah, have a good weekend. Okay, everybody. I'm not going anywhere, everybody. We're coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way this hour. 902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line, the way to reach me. And we will be right back here on the Game Plus television network all across Canada and 32 U.S. states.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. As you know, every day we do the Junior Hockey Report. It's a very big weekend in Moose Jaw. The Warriors having their Hall of Fame weekend tonight. This weekend, Kyle Brodziak and Johnny Boychuk going into the Warriors Hall of Fame banquet tonight. Hockey game Saturday. Broncos in town. You're going to Moose Jaw, stopping at the Mad Greek Eatery. Say hey to Johnny. You treat us the Mad Greek and tell him you saw us talking about him on the RP show. That would help us out a lot. Whether it's pizza, ribs, or authentic Greek favorites like the ribs, Make it the Mad Greek Eatery. Everybody in Moose Jaw says it's their favorite restaurant. Find out why. Downtown Moose Jaw on Main Street. Okay. With Laverne and Swift Current saying, I said, why is Kevin, should he be a politician? He says, because he makes everything believable. Maybe to you. Glenn writes in, says, I don't know, Rod, about Maple Creek not being big on sports. He goes, there's a pretty good rodeo in Maple Creek. Rodeo is not a sport. And Kelly writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, good day. Happy Friday. One more Sasky football game tomorrow, the Vanier Cup. Go, go, Huskies. You'll have to go visit the Hills Estate while you're at Palm Desert. Safe travels this week. What's the Hills Estate? Who and what is the Hills Estate? Don't have plans. But I will. I'm glad you brought that up because I just got an email here from Darren Moose DuPont about wedding details because they're getting married on Sunday. I'm pretty sure when Moose, they planned this wedding, him and the lovely Leanne, they didn't think that the Vanier Cup would be this weekend and that the Huskies would be in it, his team. But it is what it is. But what I would also say is I haven't traveled anywhere for a while. I'm not really big on traveling anymore, at least at this time of my life. But I'm excited to go out to Palm Desert, celebrate with them, because after years and years and years in sports and missing all kinds of family and friends, special events, it's nice to have the ability to go. So, yeah, follow my social media to watch Moose's wedding because I'm pretty sure he'll be too busy getting married. By the way, the poll question today is, what's America's game of the week in the National Football League? It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Transform your audience with powerful presentations from EMJ Marketing's elite speakers. Check out their website for more information, emjmarketing.com. Your options are Eagles, Cowboys, Colts, Chiefs, Vikings, Packers, or other. And 59% of respondents are saying it's the Chiefs-Colts game. 59%. 16% are saying Eagles, Cowboys. And 13% saying Minnesota, Green Bay. 12% voting for other. It's interesting because this morning on ESPN, it's all football all the time, and it is fun. But some of their questions are just dumb. Like, who's got more pressure on him? Dak or Jalen? Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts in this Philadelphia-Dallas game? It's probably even, and we could sit and talk about it forever, but when you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and it doesn't matter what you make, but let's just throw the $60 million a year on top of it that Dak gets, you're always going to have more pressure than any other quarterback in the National Football League, regardless of what goes on with any other team. And Jalen Hurts and the Eagles come in, and I meant to talk more about this next hour, but I guess we can't hear because it's just me. The media. We can be very good at manufacturing things, and it's kind of annoying. I feel a little jaded at watching it. They just keep picking. They keep picking at the Eagles and the dissension within they're the best team in the NFL. Why are you guys trying to start something? Not only did they just win the Super Bowl, they'll probably win it again this year, but the media wants to make it. It's annoying to me. So, Dak has more pressure to land this plane than whoever they're playing every week. Sports Update brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Visit them today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. The NBA has announced that national games on NBC Peacock, Amazon Prime Video, or ESPN have drawn over 60 million viewers in the first month of the regular season. That marks the highest opening total in 15 years. The league is in the first year of an 11-year, $76 billion with a B dollar deal with its broadcast partners. So I kind of threw that in there because it was just yesterday we talked about the fact that NBA star players have missed a combined 200 games already in the NBA this season, and they're only 3 weeks into the season. And yet the ratings have never been higher. So it's a non-story. Let's move on. Next, 4 NHL games are on schedule tonight, including Winnipeg at home to Carolina. The Jets are looking to run their win streak to 3. They face a Hurricanes team sitting atop the Metropolitan Division. That would have been a good poll question. What's the game of the night in the NHL? Just so you know, for anybody keeping track, I was 6 of 12 in NHL picks last night. And yeah, while I feel like a big donkey, I don't feel bad because I didn't put any money on it. But it does underscore this stat the NHL is purporting this season, that 78% of games are 1-goal games or 2-goal with an empty net games, which tells you parity's never been higher. There's been more upsets than ever. And I don't really mind. Like, I wouldn't have made money. 58% pays is what the bettors will tell you. So I was 50% on my picks last night. But every morning I listen to Mike Florio on NBC Sports Radio. His picks are in the crapper too. I think, as a matter of fact, he said he's picked every primetime game wrong all year. So again, don't come to me for betting advice. And to credit Mike Florio, he says don't go to him for betting advice either. I'll get to tonight's NHL games in a second. Brandon Ingram and the Toronto Raptors look to make it 6 straight when they entertain the Washington Wizards tonight. Toronto has climbed to first in the Atlantic Division of the NBA and second in the Eastern Conference, while Washington sits last in the East. Ingram leads the Raptors with 20.9 points per game. That's your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store in Moose Jaw. If you're looking for the hottest fan gear, swing by Ultimate Fan Zone. That's where I got this Steelers garb. Shop online as well, ultimatefanzone.ca, where real fans get their gear. But, you know, when you think about it, again, that's just the media sensationalizing things. If you really do the math, this is the way sports people look at it. NBA stars have combined to miss 200 games. Well, there's 30 teams. If you have 2 stars per game, per team, that's 60 into 200. That's them missing 3 or 4 games already. That's really not that high of a number. And LeBron just came back on the weekend, and ratings have never been higher. So Arlen writes in and says 2 things. He says 3 things. He says, yes, sir, RP. Number 1, what happened to having the Vanier Cup a week before the Grey Cup? Hey, change happens. That's what we'll say about that. Number 2, would people in Calgary get upset if you said rodeo is not a sport? LOL. I don't care. I think that's the bigger story in all this. I don't care what they think. And I'm confident in that because my brother was a all-around cowboy, champion steer wrestler, team roper, and I happened to be there the day that he won the all-around cowboy award because he rode a bull one time and I was there to watch it at the Manor Rodeo. It's not a sport. It's an exhibition. That would be a great poll question, wouldn't it? Is rodeo a sport? Maybe I'll put that on our Instagram. I'm sure there's cowboys watching this right now, shaking their fists. But probably not. They're probably out working. That's what they do. Cowboys don't get a day off because cows don't take a day off. John in Winnipeg, writes in. He says, you could make $5 in Dallas and feel pressure. Jerry's pressure. Oh, yeah. He's saying, hey, doesn't matter what Dak makes. It's funny you say that. I was thinking about that earlier, John. You and I are on the same page today. That's scary for us both. Because, I've worked for guys like Jerry Jones. What he says, we love Dak. Dak's one of us. Dak's part of the family. Don't listen to anything that Jerry Jones says. Don't do it. Because nothing that's coming out of his mouth is, can you put any stock in? And what he's saying publicly and what he's saying behind the scenes are 2 totally different things. And Micah Parsons has actually come out and said that. I think for Micah, at the very least, if they can at least have a better season, the Packers, than the Cowboys, Micah wins. Micah just got tired of Jerry's crap. Ryan in upstate New York writes in. He says, I interviewed Brittany Wagner, Last Chance U, in 2021. She told me East Mississippi Community College had a rodeo team. I was genuinely shocked when she told me there's a lot of rodeo teams. What are you talking about? Is high school rodeo? I'm just saying, in my experience, I would not call rodeo a sport. That's not denigrating it. I think golf is borderline. Producer Corey saying in my ear that golf is not a sport. I will say curling is, because I don't want to start a holy war. Yeah. I don't want to start a holy war. We'll say curling is a sport. Kelly in Regina writes, and he says, regarding the Hill Estate in Palm Desert, I should visit it. He says, yeah, Mr. Paul Hill. Yeah, pretty sure I won't be going there, Kelly. Fairly confident I won't be doing that. Man. Oh, got some great. Yeah, these are going to have to carry over into next hour on the text line. Thanks, everybody, for being patient. Jim Barker and Darren DuPont coming up. We'll be back after this brief pause here on Game Plus Television.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, howdy, partner. Giddy up. Welcome to the RP Show. It's what we call a Football Friday. Jim Barker coming up, our usual football analyst in the guest spot. And actually, at the viewer's request, Moose Darren DuPont is going to be joining us from Palm Springs, California. He's getting married there this weekend, and I'm flying there first thing Saturday morning. But the viewers have asked if we could get the Moose on to preview the Canadian National Football Championship, the Vanier Cup, which will be played on Saturday on the CBC, featuring the Saskatchewan Huskies and the Montreal Carabins. And I said, yeah, well, I'll ask Moose. And Moose is going to be taking time out from his golf round this morning to preview that. It's like the national championship for our U.S. viewers. It's like the Natty, but the Canadian version. Moose will be with us in segment 3 to talk about that. And we've got a lot of viewer participation here today. That's what we want. We're on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada. We're on the Game Plus Television Network across Canada and 32 U.S. states. We might as well get down to business with what we do here every day, and that's talk sports and the quick six show topics. But I will say this, producer Corey was telling me, I'm not going to divulge too much here, Corey, other than that not only are there other regions that are interested. I'm not. There's just another region. I'm not even going to say what part of the world this place is that's interested in carrying the show. It's just growing. It's just growing. And I said, what do they like about the show? He goes, well, what does everybody like the show? It's real. There isn't another host on your telly anywhere that's communicating with the viewers like this. And what I know is a lot of the broadcasters don't have the balls to do it, to go live and answer the viewers' questions and so forth like that. But I don't care. I'm a licensed, certified sober coach and interventionist. I do interventions on meth heads and alcoholics and drug addicts. I think I could talk to somebody about the Buffalo Bills, which reminds me, point 1 of the quick six show topics is an upset to kick off Week 12 in the NFL. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills just couldn't get anything going against the Houston Texans' dominant defense in a 23-19 Thursday night football victory. A victory for the Texans, a loss for the Bills at NRG Stadium in Houston. Josh Allen sacked 8 times, and Kalen Bullock forced 3 turnovers with his second interception sealing the Texans' victory. That's just from the news wire. Davis Mills has quarterbacked the Texans to 3 consecutive victories. He's the backup quarterback with C.J. Stroud hurt, and I went back and read for cheap thrills all the previews of the game going into this morning. I did. The previews from before the game. Everybody had the Bills picked by 6. This is going to be a laugher. I even said that. And no, the Texans had other ideas. Davis Mills played fantastic. The NFL's, I think we got to say, the top defense showed strong. And the Bills lost another one. So Laverne writes in on the Western Dodge text line from the Frontier City, 902-518-3033. We'll always get you to me here in the studio. Laverne says, hey, RP, are the Bills making you a little nervous? They seem a little bit inconsistent to make it to the Super Bowl. Well, we've established a lot of things here. Number 1, don't come to me for betting advice. I say it like every day. My preseason Super Bowl pick was the Bills and the Lions. Could still very well happen. But I will say Jim Barker, who's coming up next, predicted a Super Bowl rematch, the Eagles and the Chiefs, and that's probably more likely to happen because we say Jim's a football guy, and he's very rarely wrong with his predictions and scuttlebutt and so forth. But this is also giving the Bills some time to fix things. I mean, because we've seen teams in all leagues coast through the regular season. Shoot, we had a unbeaten NFL team coast through the regular season and lose in the Super Bowl. So you're better off to get the adversity now. That doesn't explain the lack of, I didn't watch the game last night. I was at the Panthers and the Devils, and I loved it here in Sunrise. But I saw the highlights, and it's like Josh Allen was running for his life. And then when he was throwing, making bad decisions, being turned over, and then Davis Mills is playing like Joe Montana on the other side for the Texans. That's another stinker, because I know the Bills stunk it up here in Miami a couple of weeks ago. You don't want to have too many of those, and they served up another one last night. So are they making me nervous? I don't care if I'm wrong that my Super Bowl pick is wrong, but I it's becoming like the kiss of death. If I pick you to go to, for sure, and to win the Super Bowl, you don't want that. But we'll see. Which on all of this, the text line's open, but the poll is open as well. Brought to you by EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau. The poll question is, what is America's game of the week in the NFL? And your options are the Eagles, Cowboys, Packers, Vikings, or Chiefs, Colts. And I'll save you the time. The Indy KC game is running away with 59% of the respondents are saying it's that Colts Chiefs game. I voted for Eagles, Cowboys, NFC East clash. That is the game of the week. I'm a little surprised that shoddy little AFC game is getting all the votes. But for me, because everybody routinely asks my thoughts on the Cowboys, it's like, this is it. This is nut cutting time, as they say on the ranch. Are you for real or not, Cowboys? This big boy football this Sunday at Jerry World. You got to beat the Eagles and for real, or don't, and your season's probably over. BW in Edmonton writes in. What's actually interesting, BW says the game of the week is the Browns and the Raiders in Vegas. For morbid reasons, maybe. But there's way too much talk about this than there should be on shit. In my mind, in the football world, about Shitter starting for the Cleveland Browns. Which, by the way, can somebody tell me where Mel Kiper is? 2 or 3 times this week I've said on this show, has anybody seen Mel Kiper since the meltdown? Mel Kiper putting the Mel in meltdown at the NFL draft for saying NFL GMs don't know what they're doing and haven't for 40 years. The fact that Shitter didn't go in the top 5 of the draft where he had him ranked, slipped to the 5th round. We all know it. But you know what? There will be a lot of eyes on Allegiant Stadium in Vegas this weekend to see how Shitter does between 2 teams that are 2-8. Maybe it is the game of the week. I shouldn't have poo-pooed you, BW from Edmonton. It's an inclusive show. All opinions are welcome here. Speaking of nut-cutting time, how the hell did this come up? I said rodeo's not a sport. I know how big the National Finals Rodeo is in Vegas every year. I know that. I'm still saying rodeo's not a sport. Don't at me. It came up earlier. That very same BW writes, and he says, it's your radio experience which makes this show the bright spot on the podcast dial. I can't speak to that. I don't know why anybody watches this show at all. Dagnabbit. I meant to do NFL picks, deal or no deal. I'll save it for later. I feel like we don't have time. We will do it in the very last segment of overtime if we have time. What it is for Pump Jacks, I just saw the sponsor read here. Pump Jacks Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. They and CoolBet.com bring you our NFL picks every week, and I've just been running off at the yap here. Yeah. Point 2 from the National Hockey League. Thursday night, Adam Fantilli scored his second goal of the game in overtime as the Columbus Blue Jackets survived, blowing a 2-0 lead to beat the Leafs 3-2. Jake Gensel scored in overtime to complete the Lightning's 2-1 comeback over the Edmonton Oilers. Alex Ovechkin scored a hat trick to reach 907 goals in his career. Wow. And the Washington Capitals beat Montreal 8-4. Jason Robertson kept his scoring streak alive with a first-period goal as the Dallas Stars topped the Vancouver Canucks 4-2. Bear with me because I want the details of what the Golden Knights did last night, and I want to get it right. I know that they won in Utah last night. Here it is. Bear with me. It'll be near the bottom of the summary because it was a... There it is. Jack Eichel scored 2 goals and assisted on the third to power the Vegas Golden Knights to a 4-1 victory over the Utah Mammoth in Salt Lake City. Ben Hutton and Braden Bowman each scored a goal, and Shea Theodore had 3 assists to help the Golden Knights win for the third time in 4 games. Well, hopefully the Golden Knights have the ship righted in the right direction. There are only 4 NHL games tonight, so I can very quickly run through those. For those scoring at home, I was 6-6 in NHL picks Thursday night. Minnesota at Pittsburgh tonight. I'll take the Penguins. Chicago Blackhawks at the Buffalo Sabres tonight. Hawks lost at home to Seattle last night. They'll get back on track tonight against Buffalo. Everybody beats them. Carolina at Winnipeg. What do we say? The Jets are looking for a 6th? No, it's got to be a 5th straight win. I'll take Winnipeg. By the way, this is my Stanley Cup final preview. I know I predicted at the outset of the NHL season it would be a Carolina-Winnipeg Stanley Cup final, and people wanted to submit me for a drug test. Even Winnipeg Jets fans were like, what? Nobody picks us to win anything. Stanley Cup final preview tonight, Carolina at Winnipeg. I'll take the Jets. And Boston at LA. This would be a far sexier matchup if it was the NBA, but Bruins at the Kings tonight. I'll go with Boston. But that's only 4 games. It's a little thing called sport betting that we do. It's like sport fishing where they catch the fish and they throw it back. We pick the games but don't put money on it. It's safe. I said college football. Just hang on a moment. What do we got here? Angelo Joseph writes in. He says, as a former Las Vegas Posse season ticket holder, I would love to see a Grey Cup in Vegas someday. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. For the people that don't know, the Grey Cup is the Canadian Football League Championship. Angelo, just so you know, I've been advocating for that for years, that they play a Grey Cup in Las Vegas. And, at Sam Boyd Stadium, the former home of UNLV, which I see, by the way, tonight, the Rebels are home to Hawaii and the Rainbow Warriors. So how about that? My good buddy Jeff Reinbold there with Hawaii. And Sam Boyd Stadium's condemned, I'm told. So now they're playing in Allegiant. I guess if we were going to have a Grey Cup in Vegas, in Allegiant Stadium, you know what we would have to do? We would have to shrink the field and move the goalpost to the back. John Ohm writes in. He says, this show rocks, period. Thank you, John Ohm. Appreciate you. Will we live to see a day that a Grey Cup is played in Las Vegas? I doubt it. I'm just running through the comments from the viewers here. Jeff in Toronto writes in, he says, rodeo is not a sport when the horse is the athlete. Well, it's not just horses, but and by the way, was it this hour or last hour that I said I can say rodeo is not a sport and not feel bad about it? My brother was a all-around champion cowboy. They literally gave him a championship ring when he won it. I was with him. And they gave him a championship ring, and he's like, you want this? I'm not going to wear this. Sure. Noni writes in, she's watching in Cowtown on the Western Dodge text line. She says, hi, Rod, I'm loving the show today. And way to stay true to your beliefs with a comment, I don't care about what others think about what you say. It's refreshing. Instead of changing what you say to appease others and get ratings. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Noni. Very nice of you to say. Here's the problem. If you twist and contort yourself to make everybody else happy, guess who ain't happy? You. Who wants that? Allie writes in, regarding this weekend's nuptials, Darren Moose DuPont getting married in Palm Springs. Allie says, happy Friday, RP. Please give best wishes and early congratulations to Darren on his upcoming wedding. From myself and Kevin, safe travels. Have a fantabulous weekend. Moose coming up later on this hour to preview the Vanier Cup, the Canadian College Football Championship, which will be played on Saturday at Mosaic Stadium. You can watch it on the CBC. Before I go, I'm very excited tonight. I will be announcing the Cardinal Gibbons Chiefs against the Killian Cougars 2A regional semifinal tonight at Bud Tite Stadium, 7 p.m. The place will be packed tonight. Florida High School Athletic Association football playoffs. It's a big deal. On the rodeo comment, Glenn writes, Glenn with two N's, he writes and he says, LOL, you got yourself in a bit of a crap storm over your response to me that rodeo's not a sport. I know you've been involved in controversy before. You could say not your first rodeo. You know where to find me. Come find me. If you got questions and comments for Jim Barker because I got enough to fill 20 minutes with the coach when he joins us next, but we'd like to hear from you as well. 902-518-3033. Just 2 games between ranked college football teams Saturday. Oklahoma hosting Missouri, Oregon against USC, but we'll find something to talk about with Jim Barker when we return. You are watching the RP show across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus TV network. We'll be right back after this brief pause.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
RP Show continues before a live studio audience, really. Troy in Toronto writes in regarding tonight's Hawaii at UNLV game. He says, your buddy Jeff Reinbold probably has one of the best gigs in football, defensive backs coach in Hawaii. Sounds pretty good to me. Reinbold says this is his dream job. And yes, it's Rainbow Warriors at Rebels tonight. Hey, Coach Barker, how you doing, sir?
Fantastic. Fired up for that Rebels game tonight.
Yeah? What makes you say that? Anything in particular?
No, just playing off your lead in there.
Okay, I appreciate it. Hey, before we get to anything else, the viewers were chastising me about my pick to have the Bills in the Super Bowl. Are you feeling confident on your Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl rematch pick? Do you want to stick with that right now?
No, I think the Chiefs this week are at a day of reckoning. I think the Chiefs are one of these teams. The Colts or the Chiefs are in for a rude awakening, and for the Colts, they not only have the Chiefs in Kansas City tomorrow, but then they have the Texans, which last night we saw just abuse the Bills. I mean, 8 sacks was pretty dominating performance by their defense with their backup quarterback, Davis Mills. So, and he's thrown 6 touchdowns, no interceptions as he stepped in. For EJ Stroud. So, I think the Colts, they have the Texans, they have the Jaguars twice, they have the Texans again at the end of the year, and they still have the 49ers in Seattle. So we're going to see if the Colts are for real or if they're a flash in the pan. As far as the Bills, I'm worried. I'm worried about both them and the Chiefs at this point. I think the Patriots, they get Drake May playing at an MOP level, and now Travion Henderson comes in and last 2 weeks has 6 touchdowns running the ball. That's an offense to be reckoned with, and the Patriot defense is what the Patriot defense has always been. I mean, they're good, and I think they're going to that just throws another thing into the AFC mix, the Patriots. So, that game, I think the Chiefs and Colts, it's a day of reckoning for both teams. One of these teams, my prediction is team that loses going to be kind of a little bit on the downslide at the wrong time of the year.
If you don't mind answering some viewers' questions, they range all leagues. BW from Edmonton would like to know your thoughts on Shadur Sanders starting for the Browns. I laugh because it's a battle of 2 and 8 teams, Cleveland and Vegas, yet everybody's talking about it just because Shadur's starting.
But what a perfect situation. Shadur Sanders getting his first ever start in professional football in Las Vegas. It doesn't get better than that. I mean, who would have ever thought that would happen? So I think that's exciting, that he's getting to start against Las Vegas, a team not very good, bottom part of the league, and can come out and show what he can do. So, but I thought him playing in Las Vegas was just kind of an interesting twist.
Well, if you were a Browns fan or his coach or his dad, what would you like to see in that game from him?
To be efficient, not turn the ball over, act like he's been there before, play with poise, all those kinds of things. Dylan Gabriel is under concussion protocol. That's the only reason he's not starting. And he's shown, composure and those kinds of things. Shadur can't try to do too much and try to win the job back in one game. I think he's got to play with some composure and that type of thing.
College football. Oh, here we go. A lot of questions. Yeah. Okay. You want to talk about that? Go ahead.
It's the only game that really matters south of the border is SC and Oregon. One of those teams going to be in big trouble in terms of making the playoffs, whoever loses that game. But the bigger college game is in Regina at Mosaic Stadium when the University of Montreal comes in, and Montreal, Saskatchewan, just like the Grey Cup, and the province of Saskatchewan has a chance to be the first team ever to win the Canadian Bowl, which for people in the U.S., it's junior football, which the U.S. should think, basically that's kind of with the NIL and things. But junior football is for guys who don't go to college. And I can remember my first year in the CFL in Saskatchewan, we had 25-year-old rookies. They were farmers, and they played junior football, which kept their football dream alive, and then eventually would sign in the CFL. I just remember, I think it was a 26-year-old rookie who had just played for the Hilltops. So, but they have a chance. The Saskatoon Hilltops won. The Saskatchewan Roughriders won. Actually, the Saskatchewan Valkyries, who dominated the Canadian Western Women's Football League in the spring, they won. So they have a chance to have 4 football winners in one province. Never been done. So that's the exciting college game. The rest of the college games are not much. I mean, I like to talk a little about the Argo, what's going on with the hiring of the new coach. I think
let's
that's
do it.
Kind of fascinating.
Kirk in Toronto was written in on the Western Dots text line to ask who you believe will be the next head coach of the CFL's Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah, I think it's so difficult this year because the candidates, I think the top 2 candidates are Kent Austin and Orlando Steinauer. Now, again, Noel Thorpe is a candidate, but he can't even be talked to until Sunday because of CFL rules, which don't allow a team to talk. You can't talk to a candidate within 7 days of his final game. So his game was Sunday. The Argos could conceivably talk to Noel Thorpe on Sunday. The problem is Kent Austin, in that Kent is now the offensive coordinator at Auburn. Since the firing of Hugh Freeze, he's become the offensive coordinator. Well, for people that didn't pay attention, they played Vanderbilt, very, very good potential playoff team in Vanderbilt, and they lost in overtime. It was like 45-38. And his offense had 563 yards of offense. They really got it together. The quarterback threw for 300. They ran for 250. I mean, they play Mercer this week, and then next week Auburn plays Alabama. Well, that throws a little, I don't know Kent well, but I know him well enough to know that he will be totally engulfed in getting that game plan ready for that Alabama game that everybody in the country will be watching. And he is the offensive coordinator now. So it's a big game for he's not going to come up here and interview on a Tuesday. I can tell you that. That's not going to happen if that's what they choose to do. So they're going to have to wait until after that game. And then, what's going to happen? Is Auburn going to try to keep him, or is he going to have, if they do great, is he going to have a chance? Those coordinator jobs are going to pay $1 million a year. I know his wife is from up here. I think there's a lot of things that would pull him up to this job. I know Keith Pelly, he was the coordinator in 2006 with the Ricky Williams debacle. And he ends up getting fired. He goes to Saskatchewan, wins the Grey Cup the next year in 2007 with the Riders. And so, Kent Austin has a background that the people with the Argos higher up are very familiar with. Orlando Steinauer's in a job he loves. He's a president of football ops. Who knows whether he wants to come to a place where, who knows, the first 7 weeks, it's not just playing your games away, but where is the team going to practice? They lose their locker room. They lose their office space, I believe. But where are they going to be the first 7 weeks? If you're a first-time coach, I know they're also interviewing on staff Mike Miller, who is already interviewed. I believe they're interviewing Mickey Donovan, possibly Kevin Iben. So I think they're doing in-person staff interviews now. But that whole Kent Austin thing makes this thing interesting in terms of how long it'll go. But those are some of the names that I believe are going to be involved in it. In terms of which one, again, I have no idea.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Like last week, I had no idea about Mike O'Shea. After talking to him for 2 hours, I had no idea what he's going to do.
Yeah, I wonder if he did. But I'll tell you, here's the thing that I like /hate about the football world. I was talking to a football guy the other day, and he goes, "Why would they hire Kent? He flamed out in Hamilton." I'm like, I don't know, man. And they said maybe the Argos will go way off the board. They did with Dinwiddie. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming when they hired Ryan at 38. Like maybe there's somebody in the weeds that we
Mark Mueller's a name that's been talked about, but the word is Mark wants to stay, and he's got Trevor there. They understand his thing, and he feels comfortable there. And like I say, the Argo job throws up a lot of question marks in terms of, right now the only personnel person they have is John Murphy. Pinball is the GM, but he doesn't really go out and watch film, and that guy he does some contracts and those kinds of things. But and then the whole thing with that game, the World Cup next year. So there's some questions with this job that make it difficult. I wanted to mention one more thing about that Saskatchewan game. So the young kid who started the season at quarterback, a youngster named Anton Ammonrud, and there's actually a GoFundMe page for him. He had thrown 14 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he's diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he's in the hospital. And his backup, Jake Farrell, steps in, does a fantastic job, gets him to this game. To me, it's an interesting side note and one I think fans should be aware of. And so I just wanted to bring that up about the best college football game in all of North America. You can take all those college football games in the U.S. I'm going to watch the Montreal and Saskatchewan Vanier Cup game.
It'll be on the CBC, and Moose will be joining us next to preview that game. Guys, we're going to run out of time here. But James Warnicki writes in, he says, Coach Barker, do my Notre Dame Irish get into the playoffs, provided they win the rest of their schedule?
No question. Not a question in my mind. They're in. If they win out, they're in. There's not a doubt in my mind about that. They lost games early. They lost to a Miami team early that has turned out to be not as good as people maybe would have thought. But I don't think there's any question that Notre Dame gets in. If they don't have to play in one of those championship games, one of those conference championships, because those are guaranteed. And I think there's absolutely no question Notre Dame's in if they don't lose again.
Well, one thing I was going to ask you is last year, this is where Alabama took a nosedive. This is where Miami took a nosedive. Like these last few weeks are critical for the college football playoff.
Yep. Yeah, but there's just not a lot of big games where they're playing each other. There's a lot of teams that are ranked high playing, bad teams that are not that good. So there's not unranked teams, and the Oregon USC game is the one that's, and it's just hard for me to say, because I remember when it was the Pac-8 and then it was the Pac-10 and now they're in the Big Ten. So it's a Big Ten matchup that's going to be very important for who goes to the, who's going to end up making the playoffs, because there's talk of 3 or 4 teams from the Big Ten, 4 or 5 teams from the SEC making it to the playoffs. So I think this Oregon USC game is huge. SC's finally playing well, but is their coach leaving? Lincoln Riley, is he getting ready to take off? And all these college football jobs open is throwing a lot of dim light on programs like Ole Miss that are 10-1 with Lane Kiffin. And is he going to Florida, or is he going to LSU, or is he going to Ark? Where's he going, or is he staying in Mississippi, which is a great spot? So it's
funny you say that. As you know, that's all football people do is sit around and talk about stuff like this. And I'll be right up to my eyes in it tonight at Bud Tite Field announcing the Chiefs-Cougars game, Florida 2A semifinal regional high school football.
Head coach Matt Dubuck.
That's right. Go Chiefs. But Coach, here's the thing. All these football people are watching you. You are the quintessential football guy. When we talk about all these guys jumping teams, whether it's Lane Kiffin or Ken Austin or whatever, is there something to be said, or Mark Mueller, is there something to be said for if you're happy where you are and it's a good situation to not be always trying to climb? How do you view that?
You know, now that I've gone through it all, I think if you're in a place you love and you've got good players and a good organization and things, sometimes it's not always greener. But the problem is that, the money, the prestige, the chance to win championships, and you look at the entire organization. When you're trying to get your first job, somebody like Mark Mueller, like Mike Miller, those things don't bother you. I mean, I had an owner whose kid was a quarterback on the team and I was going to deal with. And Wally Buono couldn't do it. One of the, I'm going to say the second best coach in the history of the CFL behind Don Matthews. That's just my personal opinion. Wally maybe, but that's just my personal opinion. But who was I to think I was going to go in there? It's our egos that get us there, and that's what happens with these coaches. They think they're going to take a job. Now, James Franklin has to leave Penn State, goes to Virginia Tech, and I believe he believes he can get Virginia Tech into the playoff thing. Does he think he can win a national championship? Maybe. But a guy like Lane Kiffin says, can I win a national championship here at Ole Miss? And, you get to that point where winning national championships is where you're evaluated and where, you want to be. And if he can do that at LSU a lot faster than he can at Ole Miss, then he's going to make that kind of move. If not, then he's not. Because I can guarantee you he is happy at Ole Miss right now. His whole, everything about watching this guy, and I've watched him closely, and I think he loves it at Ole Miss. But can he win with half of the money that Alabama has? Can he win a national championship with that? Some guys would take it as a challenge and say, you know what, I'm going to do it regardless. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I think Lane Kiffin may stay at Ole Miss.
I was going to say, Jim, for those that don't know, Jim's talking about Lane Kiffin, who, by the way, I live in Boca, a mile from the FAU stadium. They still speak of him lovingly here as Lane Kiffin. They loved him in his time with FAU. And by the way, Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes, and he says, we all know who that is you're referring to in Calgary. I don't think anybody could have worked for that owner, Jim. Just so you know, Wally couldn't. You had your issue. I don't think anybody could have.
No. And like I say, I knew it. And after 1 year, fired his son. So I do have that. I cut his son from the league, and then I got fired 2 days before Christmas. It's one of the great stories in the CFL. So
your brother still likes to bring that up.
Yeah, he does. Too often for my liking.
All right, Jim. Okay, so hey, Vanier Cup, we only have less than a minute. Who's going to win it?
I'm going to pick Saskatchewan at home. I think there's going to be a good crowd there. They're fired up from the Grey Cup. Scott Flory played for me in Montreal. Fantastic a U Sports coach. And that, winning it for the quarterback, for I can just see what's going to happen. They're going to bring him in. He's going to come out of the hospital. He's going to say, all I want to do is watch my team. And that the emotional lift they're going to get, I'm just going to pick them to win over Montreal.
All right. Should be a beauty. By the way, your brother's watching. He writes in, says, LOL. That's John. Okay, Jim. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Thanks for this.
All right. Thanks, Rod.
Coach Jim Barker joining us from the Big Smoke, Hogtown. We'll be right back with the Moose to preview the Vanier Cup and more. You're watching on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is a Football Friday, and we are across the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada. Game Plus TV. By popular demand, we have the Moose with us from the golf course, Palm Springs, California. How you doing, Moose?
I'm doing great. Can't wait for you to get down here, man.
Oh, good. I can't wait to get there either tomorrow. Boy, you're sounding like $1 million. But I know your team, your Huskies, is killing you to not be at the Vanier Cup, the Canadian University Championship. For our U.S. viewers, it's the Natty, but Canada's version. Saskatchewan Huskies, Montreal Carabin. The viewers said, can you get Darren on to preview it? You've been calling these games all year, and then you happen to have your wedding the same weekend. Stuff happens. But what's your breakdown of the game?
You know what? It's going to be a great game. We're organizing a viewing party to watch it tomorrow morning out here on the West Coast. It's going to be great. Look, it is quite a game. Montreal probably comes in as a slight favorite. Experience matters. They're routinely in these big games, but so are the Huskies lately under Scott Flory. They really are. Jim alluded to Anton Ammonrud, the Husky quarterback who diagnosed with cancer, maybe the team rallying around him, and they have been. What a great story, the team persevering through that. But that's a big question mark. You got a young quarterback in Jake Farrell for the Huskies. Now you got a young quarterback, a freshman quarterback for Montreal too. But with Jake Farrell, second-year quarterback, wasn't expected to be the starter in this situation. He's handled it so well. He really has. Both these teams are really good on the lines. One edge the Huskies have is Riker Frank in the backfield. He had 130 yards in the Mitchell Bowl, helped really get them past Queens and control that game. And the other factor that I think really helps the Huskies is their defense. Seth Hundeby is going to be in the CFL for a long time. He's a great player. We saw him in the Mitchell Bowl. Charlie Parks and that defensive line. Their front seven is so good, and the Huskies run the ball. Weather's going to be good, but Montreal, they're so tough. They have a really high floor, but I think the Huskies have a great chance to bring home a Vanier Cup.
Montreal, Saskatchewan, and the Vanier Cup Saturday on the CBC. Okay, you've been out there in Palm Springs for a week. What's the football vibe out there? Is there a specific rooting interest? Like, I'm excited to get out there. I've never been there before. What's the football vibe there?
Yeah, it's a crazy mixed bag when it comes to football. Out here, it's definitely mixed. I'm seeing a lot of college football, though, more than I'm seeing NFL in these parts. One of my playing partners we're out golfing with, Texas Longhorns fan. I see the club covers of the Texas Longhorns. So you see a little bit of that. A lot of 49ers fans in Southern California. I see that quite a bit as well. But USC hasn't been great in football. UCLA hasn't been great in football. So it's a little quiet on that front, but everybody's talking at this point. Now they're starting to talk more and more NFL, and potentially at some point of the trip, there's a Monday nighter with the Chargers and the Eagles that might be in my purview.
Okay, well, good for you. Well, I'll tell you, for years and years, when there was no NFL in LA, USC was LA's NFL team, right? So that has not gone away. But then the Rams and the Chargers show up, kind of spoiled everything. Week 12 in the NFL. I mean, you're a little busy this weekend. You're going to be a little busy. But what are the storylines that you're paying attention to?
Well, we already had one on Thursday with the Texans knocking off the Bills. That is crazy stuff. But the thing I'm paying attention to the most when it comes to these storylines is, obviously the playoff races. That's important. But everybody see the storyline outside of the games that's really catching my eye is the coaching carousel lately. He's talking down here about Lane Kiffin, and he's trying to squash rumors about his, departure potential from Ole Miss and these other jobs, and James Franklin taking the Virginia job, and who's potentially going to take the job of my Tennessee Titans. Marcus Freeman, the Notre Dame coach, is somebody I think would be a front runner in terms of how he builds culture there and his ability. The assistant coach is Joe Brady in Buffalo, among others. So the coaching carousel is, to me, what's dominating the headlines now.
It's amazing what they talk. Same here.
Yeah.
And I'm all the way on the other coast. So anyways, John Ohm writes in from Winnipeg. Says, Moose, congratulations. Arlen Bruce writes in. He says, Moose, congratulations on this weekend. Have some fun. Same from me. I will see you tomorrow. Save me a chair.
All right. Sounds good. Can't wait to see you.
Everybody, we will be coming right back with a viewer takeover. Don't go anywhere just yet, Moose. Viewer takeover and our NFL picks upcoming for the weekend for Pump Jacks Cathedral and Pump Jacks Weyburn and coolbet.com. You're watching the RP Show on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. How about that? I just yanked my headphones out. All right, we're back for Overtime, proudly brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. If you're looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot, make it Overtime Hockey Lanes. With state-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment, it's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages and skill levels, or just to go have some fun. Office parties, team parties, Christmas parties, birthday parties. They've got it all. Visit Randy and Michelle at 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Okay, I'm going to get into the NFL picks brought to you by our friends at coolbet.com. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200, but you got to use the promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. Canadian viewers only. Sorry. What Moose was saying, all they're talking about in Southern California is the coaching carousel in college football. Same thing here in Florida. That's why I think so many people like our show is that we do mix in a lot of hockey because nobody else is talking about it. But what everybody's talking about right now is the NFL. And our picks are not only brought to you by CoolBet, but also Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. What we do, deal or no deal, I give the point spreads and decide whether I'm going to take the bet or not. Sometimes I play with somebody else. Sometimes it's just me, and that's what we have today. Packers home to the Vikings. Green Bay favored by 6 on Sunday. I am not taking the deal. I think J.J. McCarthy and the Vikes are going to surprise. Colts at Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 3.5. I think this is the game where the Chiefs proved that they are who we thought they were. Patriots at the Bengals. New England favored by 6. I'm taking the bet. Drake May and company will win their 9th in a row. Mike Vrabel will win Coach of the Year. Book it. Pittsburgh at Chicago. How about those Bears? Favored by 2.5. With Aaron Rodgers playing injured, I'm taking the bet. New York Jets at the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens favored by 13.5. There's some whopping point spreads this week. Not taking it. That's too much. Stay away from those. New York Giants at the Detroit Lions. Lions favored by 10. I'm taking it. Sorry, Chris from the Bronx. Seattle at Tennessee. Titans can't hang. Seahawks are favored by 12.5. They'll cover. Taking the bet. Jacksonville at Arizona. The Jags favored by 3. It could be 13, and I would take it. Cleveland at Las Vegas. The Raiders favored by 4. It's the morbid game of the week. Shedeur Sanders making his first career start. I think the Raiders are going to maul him. Enjoy it, Las Vegas. The Raiders are favored for a game by 4. I'm taking the bet. My actual game of the week is the Eagles at the Cowboys. Big boy football for Dak and the boys. Eagles favored by 3.5. Don't bet on your team. I'm taking Dallas. So, yeah, they will upset. Forget about beating the spread. Atlanta at New Orleans. Kirk Cousins starting for the Falcons, and the Saints are favored by 2.5 at home. I'll take that bet. Tampa Bay at the Los Angeles Rams. Sneaky good game there, but injuries are catching up to the Bucs, and their defense have had way too many breakdowns of late. I'm taking the bet. Rams will cover the 7-point spread. And Monday Night Football. Dun, 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 dun. Carolina at the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers favored by 7. I'm taking the bet. That was easy. Goes a lot faster when it's just me. Again, it's brought to you by our friends at coolbet.com and PumpJacks. What do we have here? Carlos in Indianapolis writing in live. He says, have a great weekend, everybody. May your teams win. Same to you, Carlos, that I know that is the Colts. That is the game that we will all be watching. Moose is going to be getting married at pretty much the exact same time. I'm just putting that out there as the Colts and Chiefs meeting in America's Game of the Week. C Lightning writes in and says, Moose now has to become a couple of Moose. Gotcha. Was very nice of him to fit us in while on his round of golf. I don't even know who he was golfing with there in Southern California, but Arlen Bruce writes in, congratulations. Oh, I mentioned that already. Thank you. Thank you, AB, for sticking with us throughout. This is the point of the week where a lot of the viewers ask what I've got going on for the weekend. And like you, BW from Edmonton. Oh, it's actually Rich from Edmonton, who I haven't seen from all week. I don't know if he's got sick of us or if he's been busy or what, but as it is, I'm announcing Florida 2A state semifinal football action tonight. Cardinal Gibbons Chiefs, my team, against the Killian Cougars at Bud Tite Field, 7 p.m. kickoff. Very excited to be announcing that one tonight, and then jumping on a plane very early Saturday morning and heading out to the West Coast to be with Darren and Leanne as they tie the knot. It's going to be great. Hey, Arlen Bruce writes in, says, guess what, RP? I turned 48 Sunday. AB, celebrate safely. And I hope you celebrate with a Chiefs victory, by the way, which I've predicted here. What else do we have here? Sports on tap tonight. I think I mentioned it. We went through our NHL picks earlier, actually in hour one. 4 games tonight, including a Stanley Cup final. Wouldn't it be something if I was right? My Super Bowl picks, very rarely right. Hockey picks, almost always right, but usually a year in advance of when they actually happen. But Carolina at Winnipeg tonight, to me, is a Stanley Cup final preview. So I know so many of you that are watching right now will be tuned into that tonight. 9 in the NBA tonight, including the Raptors home to Washington. The Atlantic Division leading Toronto Raptors. What? It's kind of been a bizarro world week. We'll see if the Raptors can finish it off with a win tonight against the Wiz. Couple of college football games again tonight in Las Vegas. UNLV home to the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors at Allegiant Stadium. That'll be a doozy. FSU at NC State. Just 2 on the college football docket tonight. Ryan in upstate New York says, have a great weekend, Rod Squad. Safe travels if you're traveling. I'll put that out to everybody as well. Haven't boarded a bird for a while, but I am looking forward to getting out to the West Coast and getting out to Palm Springs, which is a place I've never had the pleasure of enjoying. Thank you to Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast for co-hosting earlier on today. Jim Barker, America's, and we know who America's coach is. We'll call him Canada's coach. And a Moose for previewing the Vanier Cup and doing such a solid job. On behalf of producer Corey and the crew at Skycron and all of us at the RP Show, thanks, everybody. Take care. We'll talk to you Monday from Palm Springs.
Good.